Willkommen, this is Julia.
And this is Shane. And this is Think Plant-Based. Think Plant-Based. Make sure to check out recipes, health tips, travel tips at www.thinkplantbased.com.
And we're officially on iTunes, so please rate and write us a review on iTunes.
Write us a review. Give us 2 stars, 3 stars, maybe 5 stars. Let us know.
For sure, 5.
Yeah, I mean, who would give us 2 stars anyways, right? But yeah, make sure to do that because that's how we get found.
Hey.
So here we are again.
Exactly.
As always.
We have guests from all over the world on our show, and today we have Alan Twigg from Tenerife.
Alan, how's it going?
Hi.
Hello, thank you. Yes, nice to be on the show. It's going well. It's evening here and morning where you are. But,
right.
Yeah.
I'm still feeling good. I think we should be okay.
That's good.
Sounds good. Yeah, please tell the listeners more about yourself and your vegan journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So I'm 55 years old now. I'm vegan. I've been vegan for 5 years. I have my daughter to thank for this gift, and I do really see it as a gift. I mean, an amazing present to get when you're 50 years old. So my journey was inspired by my daughter. We moved so my wife and I and 2 teenage children, we moved from Germany to Tenerife 7-8 years ago. And just shortly after that, my daughter, who I don't know exactly, but maybe she was around 13 or something, she decided that she wanted to go vegetarian.
Right.
And I was fairly cool and laid back at that stage. I didn't really worry too much. I told her that she had to eat lots of eggs and these were my top tips. I mean, I was unaware that my daughter was actually far more aware than I was. But I was telling her, giving her all these tips. Yeah, eat plenty of eggs and get your cheese or your protein and like I said, fairly laid back.
Right.
And then she went on a like a holiday in the summer to Germany. And when she came back, we went for a meal, went for a pizza in the square here in Puerto de la Cruz, and she dropped the bombshell. Yeah, she said, "I've got to tell you, I've decided I'm going to go vegan."
Ooh.
Yeah. And I just, I just had this vision of my daughter wasting away in front of me, eating nothing but carrots and lettuce and cucumber.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's just raw food or something, like just straight, just like a carrot stick or like the small salad or something. It's weird. Yeah. Exactly that. That was my vision of being vegan. I thought, oh my God, and I'd got this image of really kind of anemic, pale, weak, that was genuinely 5 years ago. That was right. what I really thought.
And did you meet any vegans before in your life when you heard your daughter's going vegan?
No.
Okay.
None.
Well, that explains it.
I'm originally from the industrial city of Sheffield in the north of England,
right.
which is very, the men there, they all eat bacon sandwiches and drink beer, and it's a very kind of that environment. That's the environment that I grew up in, and
right.
I never questioned food. It was just food was just something, that was it. That's what you eat. This is what you need, and I never. Like a lot of people, So yeah, she told us this information, and I was concerned. To be honest, I really was worried that she wouldn't be getting the nutrition that she needed. And she was saying, "Look, Dad, it'll be fine. It's not what you think it is. There's a woman on YouTube who just eats bananas, and she's really healthy." So yeah, she's moved past the banana woman or whatever it was.
Yeah, banana girl.
I bet, the banana girl.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's the smartest idea.
Yeah.
You might be missing out on some nutrients. But
she eats vegan now. She stopped eating raw foods. Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
She gave me this information I although I said to her, you're going to have to really make sure you're getting all the nutrients. You can't just eat, junk food. You can't just eat
chips and crisps and things. And I kind of, wanted to empower her to I didn't want to, we didn't put any obstacles in her way, but I think my wife and I were more like, okay, but you've got to do it on your own. Don't expect us to go shopping, especially for you, and cooking special dishes and, that kind of thing. So, she went on this vegan journey. And then I think it was in 2016, she came back from Germany. So between her becoming vegan and my wife and I becoming vegan, she'd gone back to live in Germany, and she came across in 2016, really early in 2016, for a holiday.
Right.
We were sitting around the pool, it was the kind of first day of the holiday, and she just came over and slapped down a book in front of me and said, "Hey, Dad, you like health, you're interested in health, read this." And it was How Not to Die. From Michael Greger.
Oh, great book.
So,
yeah.
And so, I mean, and it's a big book as well. It's like really,
yeah.
You gave it to your mom too,
I gave
right?
it to my mom. Yeah, she likes it.
All right. How did that go down?
Yeah, she was already pretty plant-based focused. So no, it went well. She liked it.
Well, I'm not a reader. I'm somebody who really usually. I listen. I prefer to consume information in audio format. If somebody recommends a book, I always look first, is there an audio version? That's how
nice.
Yeah, there is actually. But in this case, I had the book, and obviously I can read. So I started reading, and the first chapter, I don't know if you know, it's the heart disease chapter, where, he explains that his mother was kind of wheeled into this hospital with heart disease, and told that she'd literally got only, I think it was 3 months left to live, or whatever it was.
Right.
And he explained that just, months later, or when she came out, she was a completely different person. I think he said that she was wheelchaired in and that she walked out, something like that. Mm-hmm. And she went on to live another 30 years after that.
Right.
And I was fascinated with that. My daughter was very clever giving me that book, because heart disease is something that runs in our family. My father suffered from it. He got it when he was 63. My grandfather died of a heart attack when he was in his early 70s. And my dad, I'd watched my dad go down that route of, he'd got angina, and then he went to the doctor, and the doctor told him that he would need medication, and then he was told that he would need stents, and then he had the triple bypass, which involved somebody getting a saw and sawing over your rib cage and doing all these horrible things.
Crazy.
Yeah, and I'd seen all that happen, and so reading this first chapter was just, for me, just incredible. And as he explained that a plant-based diet could actually not just prevent heart disease, but could actually be used in treating it. And I found that so fascinating. And so, I continued reading. And each chapter, I got more and more captivated. And it was one of those moments where my whole worldview changed, the paradigm that I'd had before, when he was talking about the way that saturated fat clog your arteries. But it wasn't just heart disease. It was all sorts of things, from Alzheimer's, liver disease. I mean, the book is full of all these diseases that a plant-based diet can treat.
Right.
And I never, ever thought of that before. I'd heard these terms, saturated fat, but I never really took any notice. Hey, who cares? Saturated fat, so what?
Right.
It didn't mean anything to me. It didn't mean anything. And reading that book and realizing that, that I'd been living in this way of looking at the world that was probably harming me, and definitely harming my body, and probably leading me down the same path that my father went down, eventually probably getting angina in the same route. So that was the moment for me when I thought, well, if I can just eat plants, Leah seems to be doing okay on it, and avoid all of that further down the road, then that sounds like a good idea. So I asked my daughter, I said, well, what can I eat? And
yeah, grab a carrot.
Use the
so
celery.
she says, "Don't worry, Dad. Don't worry, Dad. I'll show you." So we were on holiday, and the hotel that we were at, we had half board, so we were getting breakfast there, and we were getting evening meal, and there was a buffet, so everything was kind of laid out, and she was
right.
So the day after I'd written the first chapter, she kind of took me by the hand and saying, "Right, Dad, come with me." And we went over to the breakfast part, and she was saying, "Look at this, Dad. Guess what these are?" And I looked in this bowl, and she said, "They're chia seeds. They're full of protein." And then, and I said, "What do you do with those?" And she's saying, "Well, you can put them." And she was getting the muesli and showing me. I said, "But don't touch that milk. You need this milk." And obviously she was then saying soya milk or almond milk or whatever.
Right.
But it actually tasted. I remember having this first breakfast, the first sort of plant-based breakfast that I'd probably ever had, and thinking, well, this is not too bad actually. She'd prepared this for me, put a bit of Algarve and Saft, that's German. I don't know what the English word is, but she'd put some sweet stuff on it to make it taste nice. And she was the one who introduced me into that way of thinking, and then obviously from there, and kind of committing to it, because it made so much sense from a health perspective, and I think it happens to so many people, doesn't it? That we maybe start for health reasons, and then once we've taken that step, or this happened to me, is once I'd made that commitment to seeing it through, because I've got that kind of personality. If I'm doing something, I go all in. I'm not a bit of this and a bit of that. If I decide to do something, I commit to it. So right. I already knew that I'd committed to it, so I kind of knew that I would stick with it. And then your mind is open to all these other things that are going on, the animal, the ethics side of it. And so my daughter then started helping me there as well, sending me the links, Cowspiracy, the greatest speech ever on YouTube, was it Gary Yourofsky or
right. Yeah.
All these, and so and bit by bit you just see this completely different world, complete paradigm shift, and you wonder, how on earth did you get to 50 years old and not have a clue about what was going on,
I think the answer is the internet, right? We didn't know this much information back then, and it took a while, to get, out to the masses and stuff. I think the internet definitely holds key for almost too much information sometimes.
Exactly. And I find the media in general, like if you just watch TV, they don't really talk about veganism much. No. I mean, I find actually in Germany, my cousin always sends me, "Oh, look, there's an article about veganism." Like, he's not vegan himself, right? But for some reason it triggers now, because he knows I'm vegan. He wants to send it and says, "Wow, they're really talking more about veganism." And he even noticed it gets more popular, so that's really what I like about it, especially in Germany, that they actually talk about veganism a lot. And I find in some countries they don't.
Yeah.
But with the internet, it's really nice. There are vegan groups, right? There's vegan websites with great recipes. Like, we have more exposure to veganism nowadays. Mm-hmm. And it's never too late. I mean, I understand your reaction to it, but it's never too late, right? I watched a video where like a person in their 90s even became vegan.
Mm. Yeah. No, you're completely right about Germany. I've got close connections to Germany with my children living there, and my wife's German.
Right.
And the awareness in Germany is actually it's even on the mainstream media. They bring a lot of reports about cheap meat, and that we have to stop. I mean, obviously it's a step-by-step process. They're not going to come on mainstream television and tell people they have to stop eating meat. That's just not going to happen. So, but you do notice there is a change of tone. There is a definite. So in Germany, it seems to be that the focus at the moment is trying to show people, the conditions that animals are living in, and connecting that with the fact that the meat is too cheap. That's what they're trying to do at the moment. That seems to be the route that they're going down. But Germany's actually very good as far as awareness is concerned.
Yeah.
Spain less so, I'm afraid.
It is, right? Yeah, I noticed too.
When we were visiting it, I was like, I want to go back to Germany for that good vegan food.
But the food is so cheap, like...
Yes, in Spain, there's
super
cheap.
What you get, for 2 people, you have to... How was it again? The amount you pay for 1 meal in Germany, you can get the double in Spain, especially in south of Spain. It's so cheap. I enjoy it whenever I go.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's true. It's I live here in the island of Tenerife, and it's even cheaper here than in Spain. So it's with my wife and I, we go out every night for a drink because it's just so cheap. Why wouldn't we?
Right?
So yeah,
so nice.
Yeah, exactly.
And how did you? So you turned your lifestyle into a business, or what do you do now as a work?
God, no. Wow. Okay, so I'm a kind of serial entrepreneur. That's I started my first business when I was 24, and I love it. I love business. I love creating new businesses, getting customers, but I also have got a tendency to kind of get bored of things. So I'll get perhaps a little bit bored of a business and then look at starting another one that interests me more. And so when I first started at age 24, all I wanted to be was a lorry driver. That was that was my goal in life. I just wanted to drive a truck. I just couldn't think of anything better than driving a truck all day. So I started an employment agency for truck drivers, mainly because I thought this is great. So I can drive the trucks as well and have other people driving the trucks for me. So
nice. Great. Yeah.
But then I kind of reached a point then around 34 age, moved to Germany, and then I was a truck driver in Germany. And once I'd learned the German language, I kind of, with around my mid-30s, I got a bit sick of truck driving, to be fair.
Yeah, I bet. It's not really something you can do for, I think, a long period of time. It does a toll after a while, I think.
Yeah, and I was having lunch one day in this car park. It was one that was kind of, really quiet, and I had that thought, well, do I really want to drive a truck for the rest of my life? No. And so I changed, and at that time, the internet was just coming out. I decided to start a translation business with my wife, German, English, German, which my wife still runs today. It's still a good business, even today, all these years later, nearly 21, 22 years later.
Yes.
So I started a translation business, and then from that, I got really into search engine optimization. And so I kind of threw the translation business over to my wife and said, hey, look, you can run this. And she was happy to do that. So I got into internet marketing. And so I kind of swivel a lot with depending on what I'm interested in at the time. I've always kind of tried to make a business out of it because it's just fun to do that, And I got completely sick of internet marketing after around. I had a business partner in Stuttgart up until a couple of years ago, and we were really successful. We had great success, but I was bored of it. I was just bored of it. My heart wasn't in it. I was going through the motions. It was the money was good, but I didn't want to get out of bed. Oh no, another day of that. It was.
It becomes tedious after a while, yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially online stuff.
I am still enthusiastic about marketing in a way, but we'd moved into more kind of a client side of it, and it was getting very, your hands are tied behind your back all the time. What you can do, you make a suggestion. Look, I've got this brilliant idea for you. We could do this and we could do that. And then they'd say, well, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah. So you're having to compromise all the time. And I didn't like that side of it. But your question was to make a business out of the vegan thing was not really my intention. I also dance Argentine tango with my wife.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, we are really enthusiastic Argentine tango dancers. So I've got an event business actually here at the moment, or I did have until Corona came along. I had an event business. We used to get people from all over the world to come to Tenerife and dance Argentine tango together.
Wow,
wow, cool.
In January we had 200 people from 24 different countries, far away, Singapore, Canada, all over the world, came to Tenerife to dance tango together for 4 days. It was wonderful. Wow. And this is what I was doing. And this is where my energy was focused, you know. I mean, tango was, until January, was my business life. I was building a really good event business. And then it happened.
Yeah.
And then it happened, didn't it?
Yeah.
And so it didn't look as though I would be dancing tango anytime soon. And we were here in Spain. They had a really strict lockdown. We weren't allowed out for 2 months straight.
Wow.
Really,
Crazy.
only allowed to go out for groceries. We weren't even allowed to go out to exercise, nothing.
Wow.
So, it was then that I thought, okay, well, what else am I interested in? And obviously I'm an enthusiastic vegan now. I wrote a book last year. Between the tango events, I had this moment of madness when I wanted to write a book about being vegan, and I did that last year. So I thought, well, maybe I could build on that. I'm at home. I can't do the tango business anymore. So I decided to make an online course for people who'd be interested in going plant-based. And I had kind of my age group in mind a little bit when I did it. You know, people who were completely ignorant like I was 5 years ago, had no idea. And to try, I didn't really know. I just started it like I do most things. I just started it.
Right.
Okay, well, module 1 is obviously why. Why would you want to do such a stupid thing as go vegan? So, I created module 1 and it just went on from there. So throughout this year, I think I finished it at the end of June. So that's now completed, And at the moment, I'm just now using all the skills I've got from my marketing background to just start to get the word out a little bit, just see if anybody's interested in it, you know?
Oh,
It's not everything in business works, you know. You have, but you know, I've had years, Julia, where I spent a year on doing audiobooks for children. I think it was 2006. I had this, and I spent a load of money and I put so much time and energy into it, and it didn't work. So it's, you know, sometimes things work out and other times they don't. So you never know for sure.
Right.
But you just have to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how do you motivate people with your online course to become vegan? Is there certain tips you give them? Or marketing tools you use?
Well, I don't know really. I mean, I thought about where I was, you know, 5 years ago, and I had this idea that most people are probably ignorant, like I was, that really know nothing. I mean, here in Spain, they really don't know the meaning of the word vegan. You have to explain what it is to people. It's that, you know, weird for people. So, and in Sheffield, where I come from, in the north of England, people have obviously heard about it, but, you know, we hear about it, and I think maybe they have the same idea in their minds that I had, you know, 5 years ago. I mean, if you've never really thought about it, and it's just one of those words that goes in and goes out, you know, so I thought, well, it's just a case of passing on the information that, you know, sometimes you need to commit to something. And the reason I wanted to do a course, and the reason I want to charge people to do the course, is that people sometimes only take things seriously when they've paid to do it, you know?
Right.
And it can actually be a help to do that. I mean, if you wanted to start to learn guitar, and somebody said, hey, you know, you can have my free guitar lessons. But if you paid someone 2,000 quid or 2,000 Canadian dollars or whatever to do a guitar course for 2 months, you're going to turn up because you've made that commitment financially.
That's like me with German. Trying to learn it for free, and I'm like, you know, but if I probably pay for it, I'm guaranteed I'd probably be
You're really not
putting
committed.
more effort into it.
Yeah, so disappointing. I'm trying to remind him. He's like, I'm not feeling
I'll get back into it. Sometimes life gets in the way, and then you push it off a bit. I'll get there.
To be fair though, with languages, you know, you've got to remember that a language is a tool. And if you can't use the tool, if you're living in Canada, you're not going to be meeting. You don't need to speak German in Canada. You just don't need it, right?
Right.
So for me, I live in Spain, and I can go out and I can speak Spanish. So it's worth learning it. But if I wasn't here, I think there has to be a utility in things that you learn, And I think that's probably your problem a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I have a great helper here. When we go back to Germany, I tend to pick it up more when I'm in Germany than say here.
But it's too bad, you only feel motivated when you're there for that time, and then when we go back
a year later, it's hard to remember.
Yeah.
Well, you could do, Julia. You could do what my wife did to me.
Only speak
when
German.
I moved, I moved from Sheffield to Germany in 1995, and I'd done a few courses, but it was poor, really poor. A little bit of broken German, and I moved over, and she said, "Okay, that's it. You're here now. I'm going to stop speaking English, and I'm only going to speak to you in German from now on. That's it."
That was probably
and it's amazing how fast you pick it up.
I bet.
So you could
get started.
I would just look at her with a blank stare and be like, I don't know how to respond to it. So I need to enhance my vocabulary, I think.
Yeah.
But
well.
We'll get there.
What can you do, right? Yeah, I try to be patient with you. So how is the vegan scene in Tenerife? Is it like... Have you ever thought of opening up a vegan group? I don't know if you know Meetup, if you're familiar to that website.
No, I don't know Meetup. No.
Do they have it in Europe?
They have it all over the world.
Okay.
So if you go to meetup.com, you can type in the place where you live, and then you can find different types. They have hiking meetups and dine outs and dancing ones. And if there's no vegan meetup or group, in your area, I think you'd be the perfect candidate to open one, because I'm sure there are a bunch of vegans.
But with COVID,
now with the COVID, it's a bit harder. But I'm one of the organizers here in Vancouver, and it's very limited right now, and I don't organize any right now either because I.
So how does that work? How does that work, Julia?
So the best is if you go on meetup.com, and then they explain it to you. Actually, then you have your own. Account you have to create.
I'm pretty sure it works that you create say you want to be a host, and so then you just create events, and they basically it's just a platform for anybody that looking for things to do or want to meet people. They go on there and they can say, I'm interested in plant-based food or vegan food, eating less meat. So they'll go to events that are hosted by whoever puts them on.
And they even if people just want to search by nearby groups, just in general, you will be on the list as well, even if people are not interested in vegan. And what's beautiful about our group is we and welcome all kinds of people. You don't even have to be vegan, because most of them are just vegan curious, which is great. They try it out. And there's no pressure, and they actually realize, wow, the vegan food tastes so good, and I actually get to meet people. I make friends. It's quite nice. And now with the COVID, it's a bit different. We do more outdoor activities, So you have to be more creative. And where you live, it's warm, so you can maybe guys.
So you do cooking weekends, things like that.
We do dine outs mostly, we go to even non-vegan places, and they create a vegan menu for us because they need the customers, right? So they actually make money because you get before COVID, you would get sometimes 20 to 30 people, to eat, and the restaurant makes so much money.
Right.
So it's actually quite fun.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win for everyone.
Totally. And people are exposed to vegan food. Some actually just went the first time, and they realized, wow, I didn't even know that vegan food tastes so good, and I couldn't even tell it was vegan. Yeah. So I could totally see that in Tenerife, you doing it. Actually, you'd be great for that, because it's important to be a great host too, to welcome everyone and stuff like that.
I have experience with that. We already have a retreat. There's a retreat here that's it's got a yoga retreat actually. And I used to organize tango lessons at this yoga retreat. Before I started doing bigger events, I used to do tango holidays. So people would come, and over a week they would learn tango. But it is absolutely the perfect location for something like that. And maybe, maybe one day I will do something like that, where I maybe combine yoga with veganism, or maybe even tango. There are a lot of people in the tango scene that tend to be very open-minded. So maybe, but, at the moment, blimey, it's, everything's banned here at the moment.
Yeah, I think Spain's a lot worse than where we're at.
We didn't even have a lockdown.
Yeah, they never locked us down at all. Yeah. Really, yeah.
Well, we've had, at the moment, no dancing, no smoking, no singing.
Wow.
What is it? You have to wear a mask in the street, like literally when you leave the house, a mask. And in the middle of the lockdown, we even, I live here in the south of Tenerife, and it's just a holiday place where older people come, for the winter and everything. We even had the military on the street, in the middle of the lockdown. Wow. It was really weird. So they're not very relaxed about it. Let's put it that way at the moment.
No doubt.
That's not Spanish at all.
Yeah, they're supposed to be more relaxed, right? Everyone should be just having a siesta for 2 weeks and it'll be all good.
Right. Wow.
The Spanish have surprised me.
Especially on Tenerife, I'm surprised. On the land, like the country itself, I can see it, like the COVID is spreading like crazy. But I don't know how many cases are even on your island right now. Are there really many cases?
Well, I don't know. There's probably there are cases, but nobody seems to know anybody who's had it or has been affected by it, and it's the same. So it's I don't know. But at the moment, there are places where we tend, if we go for a walk, we walk along the coast where there are no because they even say here, you can be on the beach on your own, like in the middle of nowhere, and you're supposed to wear a mask. So people will go to beaches where there's going to be no police and no drones, and it's really not relaxed at all. But
I don't even think. We don't even have like a mandatory some stores have it, and they'll just tell you to wear it, but they don't seem to really do anything. They're not going to give you a fine or send you to jail or anything if you don't wear one.
He's pretty relaxed.
Yeah, I think they just don't want to make it seem like a police state thing, right? They want everyone just kind of be on board from themselves.
It just doesn't
work. Trying to force people.
Yeah, it doesn't work in Canada. Like you don't need to force, especially on the west coast, of BC.
Well,
like people are really they like to follow the rules. They are not really against it too much. If the government is suggesting, hey, please wear masks, guys, we will easily follow in a way, but not like that you think, like sheep or something. But in a way, we're very health conscious in this area here too on the West Coast, so it's easier. But then, the states is a bit different, right? So
they definitely don't want to wear a mask. They can't. They don't like to be told what to do at all down there.
I think you're right. I think if there was more, if it wasn't so mandatory, and so. I'm the same. I'm not necessarily against masks. If somebody can make the argument that that there's a reason for it, I'm happy to go along with that. But either you wear a mask or we'll shoot you in the street. That's it's a different feeling.
Now you're really just trying. Yeah, like now it's like not even a. Yeah, it's exactly. It's weird to think so like weird. That.
But even in Germany, it doesn't work. Like. The way it works here in Canada wouldn't work in Germany again, because they are really against it now, wearing masks. They get very
political.
Yeah, political about it. Where's my freedom? You just all the conspiracy starts, right? So
it's a very, very strange time.
It is in Germany. You have to pay a fee when you don't wear a mask in transit, right? So, but we here we don't have it. So
no, someone would
sound lucky.
You would just get weird looks if you're not wearing a mask.
Yeah,
everyone would be like, "Ew, you're not wearing a mask." Like we made it almost demonized. Like you're evil if you don't wear a mask. It's weird. Like we actually respect it here. It's
polite. Weird. That's a version of polite.
It's a form of politeness. So I respect you. That's why I'm wearing my mask. That's the way I take it as. So if you're not wearing a mask, you don't respect me, and so I don't have respect for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't work everywhere, obviously.
Right.
I mean, everything's different. So, I mean.
It's just different culture, right?
Yeah,
like,
different ways.
here on the West Coast, we're really about being polite. It's like number one. You know, when you meet someone.
The Canadian sorry. You know, even if it's your fault, you say sorry.
Exactly. You bump into someone.
Sorry
Like,
for my, yeah.
the other person.
other person that you
bump
bumped into.
You say sorry to me.
We both say sorry, even though it was only one person's fault.
Right.
What a crazy culture, the Canadians.
Exactly. Yeah, but we do our best, right? I'm sure you do your best too with being creative with what you do, and.
No, I mean, yeah, we're like I said, my wife and I, we've got there's a bar that's kind of hidden away, where the owner of the bar, it's a kind of relaxed cosmopolitan place, people from different nationalities, everybody kind of goes there to hide away, and he's a bit relaxed. He does allow loud music, which has been banned as well, by the way, but he'll play some music. Now and then somebody will get up to dance, and we won't have the cops jump on them because the cops can't see us because we're kind of hidden away in this bar. So there's all this going on. It's a bit like the prohibition time.
Yeah, the bootleg.
sounds like
you gotta go hide to go, you know, not wear a mask in the corner or something.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
the thing is, it's backfiring so much on the Spanish, because what's happening is they've basically forbidden everything.
Right.
So you can say whether that you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but human nature is as human nature is, and so what's happening is all over the island here, and I think all over Spain, people are just getting together at home in big crowds at home, going, you know, where
Rebelling.
there's fincas in the countryside. So the exact opposite of so they're trying to prevent people coming together in enclosed spaces. And yet that's exactly what's happening, because people just go, oh, we're having a secret party this weekend and 40 people turn up. Yeah, and that's you know, it doesn't.
Yeah. You can't stop people.
Well, yeah, they're trying to control or make it criminal, but it's not criminal to not wear a mask, right? We shouldn't be like demonizing that. Like, it should be like a respectful thing, right? But I don't know.
I just think that if they're here. My own personal view, if they'd have explained it more, look, we have to be sensible, or if they feel that that's necessary, you have to take the people with you. I mean, if you're in a situation where you're having to use, you know, the violence of the state to try and control people, then you've not made the argument well enough, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I totally agree.
A tricky one, definitely.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Do you have any future plans coming up?
Yeah. Future plan. Well, don't you think that's one of the hardest things
you can ask people?
I said to my wife that one of the strangest things about this year is the inability to plan.
Yes.
Because
so true.
Thank you for saying that. We have the same thing we're thinking.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm always planning new things. But at the moment, it's so difficult. My wife, I told you about the translation agency that she runs, and you know, she's, you know, it's very quiet. And I think the reason is because all the companies that usually give us work are all waiting because they don't know what the future is. They can't make plans either.
Right.
So, my plan at the moment is to I've finished the course. For it's called Plant-Based Heroes. So I finished that, and I'm now starting to spread the word about it. So I want to continue doing that. I've got a book that I'm also promoting, because these are all things I can do from home.
Right.
I am also really interested in, you know, you mentioned doing vegan events and plant-based. That's also something I was already thinking about last year, because I do these tango events, and I was thinking of, you know, introducing vegan food into the event. So people come, they dance tango, and then after, you know, we start dancing in the evening, maybe start around 9 o'clock, and it goes on till 2 a.m, and people get hungry. So you, as an organizer, you provide food. And last year I asked the hotel to provide, you know, it was basic food because it was our first real big event last year. But I was already thinking, this could be really cool, because, you know, we could maybe just do it like a plant-based buffet, you know, at midnight or whatever, and just introduce more people to the idea that it could actually taste nice and it didn't always have to be meat and dairy and all these things. So, I was already planning that, and with the yoga retreat that I mentioned earlier, that's also a perfect place for events, but it's just so difficult at the moment because there's no flights coming into, or very few flights coming into Tenerife now. All the hotels here, you've been, Julia, haven't you? You've been to Tenerife here in the south.
Right.
It's a party island. There's a hotel after hotel, and it's closed. The whole place is closed.
Wow.
Do you have any vegan places in Tenerife?
There are one or two small restaurants that cater, but they, unfortunately, they're the kind of, I always say, the kind of a sit on a spike vegan places, where everything's like really down to basics. So for some reason, there's this idea. I don't understand why, if you're vegan, somehow you're not allowed to appreciate comfort, that you have to sit on I don't know, like a wooden spike or something, and there's so many vegan places like that. And I said to my mom, why can't there be a vegan restaurant with normal seats and normal chairs? Why do we always have to sit on like an old, crate or something?
Maybe don't have the money or something.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's really weird. Yeah.
But don't you think that? Have you noticed that?
We don't have that. No, we have high end.
Here, no.
We have high end.
We have like higher end plant-based restaurants
Very
now
trendy.
that are like just as high end as, say, like a Michelin restaurant.
Even more sometimes.
Wow.
Like they just know how to present plant-based eating. It's like
they're making it very
one.
trendy. Like the whole West Coast, from LA, California, Portland, Seattle, we have that kind of niche, laid back, health conscious feel to it, and they try to make it like normal. They want it to be like that fanciest plant-based place ever, because they know that people that don't even eat plant-based, that don't even eat vegan, see it and they will go just because of the ambiance. It, right?
And that's
right.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And that's exactly the opposite of what happens here.
I don't know.
That's too bad. You got to open one. Okay.
Yeah, that's
your next project is opening a very comfortable, maybe with a tango atmosphere, restaurant or something. I know it's a lot of work, but yeah, something like that. Who knows?
What you have just said there, Julia, is actually my. If I was really going to fantasize about the ideal, that would be it. It would be this
nice,
this fantastic restaurant with beautiful food, and in the center you've got this, wooden dance floor, and the lighting right, and playing tango music from the 1930s, 1940s, and people would come from all over the world who were enthusiastic about tango, and they would enjoy this wonderful food and dance tango. Oh, wonderful!
That's amazing.
But I'm not sure I have the energy to pull it off, especially here in Tenerife.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, with COVID.
It's about connecting with other people somehow. I mean, right now we have to be creative. It's not the end of the world. People are still making money. People are still working, and we just have to be creative and really not get stuck into what we can't do, and focus on more of the things that we can do. Right, like being online, connecting with people online, and even connecting with people we haven't talked to for a while. Right. So now's the time, or we have the time to connect more with people.
I really. The bar I was telling you about earlier, here the restrictions are really quite intense. And I get what you're saying about the online connection, and I'm enjoying this. It's nice, but it isn't the same, is it? It's not the same as, when I go to the bar in the evening, and we'll go probably after this podcast, we'll sit and we'll have a drink, and it's almost like, because of all the restrictions, that people want that more. We sit there, my wife and I, and it's so warm that people just want to be next to each other and be human. And we're really noticing that at the moment, much more than before.
Right.
So like before, last year there'd be some music on, and people would sit, and it was all very okay. But now, if there's good music on, people will tend to much more want to get up and move a little bit to the music, dance. We've seen far more dancing than there used to be. People are when they come into the bar, they're greeting each other, you know, arms around each other. I mean, almost kind of the opposite to what they should be doing. And I don't know. It's just really strange to see this you know, clandestine, but at the same time really human, that's missing, you know. So, and I think maybe it's more extreme here. Maybe you can't really get it because it sounds where you are. It sounds like that they've been more, you know, to trust you. You know, they've given you more responsibility for yourself. Whereas here they've taken completely. They're treating us like 5-year-olds, like little children.
Right.
And so, and it's really interesting for me to see. Not everybody, but a certain section of society really is rebelling against that, you know, and I just think it's human. And I think it's also a real shame at the moment that, you know, there's almost like this, you know, you're not allowed to voice alternative views, or you want your grandma to die or something, which is just not true. Right. I can only speak from me, but you know, when we go plant-based or when we go vegan, don't we open our minds open, don't we? We start to question a lot more than we perhaps did in the past. Certainly, that's what happened to me.
Right.
Sure.
And I'm not sure whether my reaction to COVID would have been the same had I not become vegan 5 years earlier. Had I not watched Gary Yourofsky's greatest ever speech, had I not seen the suffering of the animals, had I not seen the ignorance with regard to meat and, you know, all the stuff we're doing to the planet and the ocean dead zones and all the rest of it and all the ignorance that's going on.
Right.
When COVID hits and you've had 5 years of like, you know, your expansion or awareness changing, and then something like COVID comes, for me, I just couldn't buy into the story automatically because I've been questioning everything for 5 years. Then you also question that what's happening here is what they're telling us correct, because you automatically, you know, they told me that milk was the best thing ever for 50 years, you know. So that's, you know, true. And that was wrong, obviously. So yeah.
It's hard to know what's truth now and what's not truth, and to really weave through and figure out what you really need to know to save people's lives and what you don't need to know that people are just throwing in to confuse or, I don't know, control whatever people say.
Right.
What do you think? So. What do you think there's some truth in that when you vegan or when you've got a plant-based that you perhaps question more than you would have done before?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think you do more research on things.
On a scientific level.
Because if you looked at the research about dairy back then, it's the same research we have almost today. It says that dairy isn't good for you. But they were just trying to sell it that it was. So this is just clever marketing. So if you can just turn off that box in the corner of your room, you know, turn off, you know, the internet, seeing ads and stuff, and actually do your own thinking for once, then I feel that you actually will find the truth there.
Right. Because people don't really think for themselves sometimes, I find, you know, they look for answers, especially now on the internet, right? And you get all the feeds, you know, just because or what people are doing, exactly. Or like, oh, I was vegan and now I try the carnivore diet because I watched this cool video and it debunked the game changers. You know,
like, but the funny thing is, science, there's no such thing as debunking science. The only thing that makes better science is more science or better science. So you can't just like say, I'm going to debunk this by saying something or finding one thing about it. No, you have to continuously keep finding the same results over and over and over again before we go that route, you know?
Exactly.
But I don't know. I have a science mind, so that's how I think of a lot of things.
And with the virus, with the virus, I find it's an invisible enemy, and I don't want to treat it lightly either, you know? So I do my best to not spread it, I hope, and not get it either, but I still live my life, you know? It's not it's not like how it was last year or whatever, in the beginning of last year or middle of last summer. But I do my best, you know. I mean, I miss going to Germany every year, you know. Like this year, we can't go.
You have family there.
I do, Germany. And in Italy, and in France, I guess. But yeah, so you do your best.
I think a lot of people are missing out. I've not seen my children. I've got grandchildren as well. I've not seen them this year, just simply because it's so complicated. I mean, if I was to fly to the UK now, I think it's 14 days quarantine. So
right.
Here
can't
too.
do that. And but coming back to the food thing, you know, also when I went vegan or when I became plant-based, I really focus a lot on the nutrition side of it. I'm definitely not got a science mind, but you know, I watch Forks Over Knives and What the Health, and I've watched a lot of the videos on nutritionfacts.org and so on, and you realize, or I realize, a lot of the things that perhaps my body needed I wasn't getting before. And if you look at the people who are dying of COVID, it tends to be, or it seems to be now fairly clear, that it is people that are on a poor diet or that have got comorbidities there's been a lot of talk about vitamin D and so on, and none of this has been mentioned in the mainstream media. So, you know, I think that combination of going plant-based and going vegan has made me question a lot around the whole situation that we're in at the moment. And, you know, my mum and my dad can't speak anymore. He's got problems with his speech. They're in their nearly 80 years old now. And she's you know, I really want to see your sister. My sister lives in Sheffield, and she's worried that she can't see my sister and my brother anymore. Luckily my sister goes, and they kind of ignore, or they're taking responsibility for their own decisions, you know? So, but I just wish there was a bit more of a debate and not just this one-sided fear that is just perpetrated. I think there's always two sides, and there's a lot of scientists and a lot of different science that are just not getting listened to at all. In fact, you know, anybody who says something contrary to the narrative is kind of deleted in YouTube, or you know, we've got censorship, haven't we? So yeah, and it makes me wonder as well. We've reached this point with veganism, you know, where there's a lot of information available, you know, and we can freely look at Gary Yourofsky's speech, and it doesn't get censored. There's no political campaign behind that. So you're free to say about a plant-based diet and veganism as much as you want. We're free to get that information. But what happens if that changes? What happens if suddenly YouTube and Facebook and Google, you mean at the moment they're all very plant-based friendly, vegan kind of companies, aren't they? But what if that changes? And then suddenly, you know, Cowspiracy is not available anymore. You can't find it anymore. You know, it's
time to move to new platforms. That's where I think people are just going to get off YouTube, and there's going to be a new YouTube that doesn't have those rules. Right?
That's really
what's to stop someone from making something similar to YouTube but doesn't have those rules? People will eventually go over to it. So they have to find a good balance where they're not getting sued and they're not getting a bunch of misinformation, or they have the power to like swing votes and change elections, you know, and that can't be happening. So it's got to be something on that. I know the Scary has, you know, positives and negatives. You always have so much going on, but you know, there has to be some type of regulation. And I think that's what the internet, where they just came in and said, you can do whatever you want. You can take videos, you can, well, not really, but you can, you know, it's not legal, but you can do it, right? But it's like, now we need to kind of clamp down, and maybe, it's one of those weird censorship thing, because the internet was never meant to be censored. And if we start doing that, then like you said, what else is going to be done on it?
Exactly.
Anyways, we could have a whole debate on that.
Totally, like especially with health advices too, right? Some people just take health advices from some YouTuber or Instagrammer, but doesn't have any scientific or any health background, right? Like that can be dangerous sometimes too. Yeah. Right? Or now with the carnivore diet, you know, it's spreading, and there's not enough science that it's healthy, you know, just because that person's saying, well, I got rid of my eczema, you know, and when I eat squash, I got my eczema back in the back. It's like, okay, great. I guess you can cure your eczema with only meat diet. Yeah. I don't know. It's too much experimentation going on.
We have a whole podcast about trying to find proper information on the internet and critically thinking and researching properly. But
Exactly.
But we'll leave it at that. And so how can the people find you? And when's your course coming out?
Well, I have a book called Why Go Vegan, which is, I'll just quickly explain what that is. It's a story, it's a fictional story of a middle-aged man who suddenly discovers there's a different way to solving his medical problems, and he meets lots of interesting characters on the way, and it's a fictional story, and that's available along with my course on my website, which is alantwigg.org. Everything's on there. The course is on there. The book, which is available as an audio book, and there's a German version as well.
Great.
Great.
In audio and a paperback. So the book's a good way in, and then the course, which is the details are on there. I'm just making the finishing touches at the moment to the website and so on, but probably by the time this gets published, it'll all be there. So
great. Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
alantwigg.org is the place.
That's
Sounds
awesome.
great. Well, thanks so much for your time. It's already dark, I guess, where you are.
Yeah,
now,
nighttime,
right?
time to go to the speakeasy.
Or you see the sunset.
The clandestine bar. The sun's just set, and it goes dark quickly here. So within 10 minutes, it goes dark when the sun sets. So that'll be tonight. So go and have a beer now.
Sounds great.
I can't wait to visit Tenerife again. Hopefully, by the time they have a nice vegan
they have
restaurant, Alan.
Elegant Michelin restaurant.
Yeah.
Plant-based.
If you do come, say hello, and we'll meet up, and I'll take you somewhere for some good vegan food.
Sounds
great.
amazing.
Yeah, likewise.
Not one of those sit on a crate places.
All right. Well, if you're in Vancouver, we'll take you to a very elegant one.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, no, I really would love that. Yeah, but it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we talk again, and take care.
Yeah. Take care, Ellen.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on. Bye-bye.
Yeah, our pleasure.
Bye.
Ciao.